What do you think, Mom?
You may think I'm off my rocker. This Ford is tough.
Of all Ford trucks registered over the last 12 years, 93 out of 100 are still on the job.
I dare you to knock this off. I dare you to compare anybody's batteries, with alkaline power cells. Try to beat them for long life. You know what? You can't. When you want long-lasting energy, you can't buy a longer-lasting, all-purpose power system than gold, red, and black alkaline power cells from Eveready. Come on. I dare you.
Relive Johnny Cash's all-time favorite Christmas as Johnny gathers his family and friends, Roy Clark, Jerry Lee Lewis, Ray Orbison, Carl Perkins, and the Statler brothers for a delightful Christmas special, Wednesday at 10, 9 Central and Mountain Time. So a couple of fumbles canceled out, then the Rams' Glenn Walker has to punt, and Chuck Knox, hoping to see his Rams come home 8-3. But he now sees the Browns in possession, 1st and 10 on their own 33. Been a long, cold day for David Mays. Under a rush, he just got it off, and it's picked off. So on a heavy rush, David Mays throws it away, and it is speared by Monty Jackson. And so Jackson being mobbed by his teammates, and the Wolves are baying at Dave Mays.
That's one of those interceptions where when the players are in the locker room, they give it all to the defensive line because the rush is really responsible for that interception.
Yeah, they were all over him, and he unloaded to Monty Jackson. Rams 9, Cleveland nothing. 4:45 in the third quarter left.
Stuntman, you get the bruises instead of the glory. You hit the deck and bite the dust till your bones ache. But now comes Miller time. Time to reach for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
Announcing a unique new motor oil from Exxon Research that can actually save money. New Golden Natural Uniflow. Uniflow was tested in cars like yours. After break-in, it delivered an overall average of 16 extra miles per tank full. Savings like that could cut your gasoline bill the equivalent of about 3 cents a gallon. New Uniflow motor oil is Exxon's best engine protection ever. It conserves gasoline, saves money.
Well, we've had 2 fumbles, a punt, and an interception, all in the third period. With 4:45 to go, it's the Rams putting in play 1st and 10 on the Cleveland 48 and leading 9-0. There's McCutcheon on a big hole on the left side, gets across the 40-yard line. They just dynamited the right side of the Cleveland line. Say, Jim Brown, Dave Mays is struggling. This is a must-win situation for Cleveland. Brian Sipe has a broken shoulder blade. What are they going to do?
They've got a big problem. Unfortunately, Dr. Mays have not had the experience. I think that's the one factor today that's holding the Browns back. There's really nothing they can do about it. I think the other factor is that the Rams defense is playing a great game. But when you have a quarterback, it's only a matter of small things, just very small things. And if he had maybe a couple of more weeks of practice, he could have compensated for these small things. But that's the main factor in the Browns' inability to score, in my opinion.
And the Rams, too good a ball club to make mistakes. They had him on the run, leading 9-0. Capoletti bullying. He only needed inches. Rams bundled up on the sidelines, trying to stay warm. CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The International Record Makers Tournament of Weightlifting, the super heavyweights, spearheaded by the Russian. And we'll also have the 9th event of the decathlon of the world's strongest men. Next Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific Time. 1st and 10 on the Browns 37. McCutcheon. It wrestled to the ground as he picked up maybe a yard or two.
Penetration was responsible for that lack of a gain on McCutcheon's part. I think the tackle penetrated, made him go a little deeper, making it hard to cut on the surface. Consequently, they only gained a yard or so.
Well, it'll be 2nd and 9. The ball on the Browns' 36-yard line. Hayden this time sends Waddy wide right and Jackson left. And it'll be McCutcheon with Capoletti out in front. There were just too many men for Capoletti to block.
Yes, it seemed that way. Good tackle made on McCutcheon. Good low tackle. Really stopped him in his tracks. And seems like he's a little hurt.
Yes, Clutch is hurt a little bit. Rolling over. And McCutcheon down on the field, so timeout for the moment.
And in a game like this, you don't want to lose McCutcheon because it's a game where in turnovers, mistakes can be a major factor. That's when you need your top players.
Jim, you were virtually indestructible. In fact, when people talk about your records, you led the league in rushing 8 times, 5 consecutive years. You carried the ball over 2,300 times, rushed over 12,000 yards.
My goodness.
Yeah, you did all that.
Man.
Did you ever get hurt?
I was always hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you never
but
hurt.
Players always in professional football have to play hurt. But I was never hurt enough to go out of a game.
I think Art Modell was saying that in 9 years you missed something like 1/2 of play.
It wasn't really a half. Paul Brown would not allow something like that.
Well, the bowl picture as Lawrence McCutcheon walks off under his own power, we're happy to say. Christmas Day, the Fiesta Bowl. Penn State 10-1 against Arizona State 9-2. Then on Saturday, December 31st, the Sun Bowl, Stanford against LSU. And then the Cotton Bowl, Monday, January 2, undefeated Texas against Notre Dame 9-1. 3rd and 5 from the Browns 33. Waddy in motion to the right. Here come the Browns, good block, and look out, Hayden. They unload as he unloads. Intercepted by Ron Bolden. And Bolden will keep it his 3rd interception of the day.
Smart move. He remained in the end zone.
Had Bolden dared to bring it out, he would not have gotten 20.
Look at the pressure on Hayden. From behind, the block is missed. Hayden pumps. He's almost hit. It would have been better to get hit. It's up for grabs. It's high. It's floating. Positioned by both players. And Bolden made a very smart move in remaining in the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20.
Bolden will get the headline for the interception. We should point out the guy who was climbing up Hayden's back was Tom Darden, the safety, who came in to eat him up just as he was throwing the ball. 1st and 10 from the 20. 9-0 Rams. Pruitt hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Once again, they're trying to send Greg up in the middle, and it doesn't look like they're going to get too much in the middle. The Rams front four are very impressive today.
Yeah, they're not moving them at all. It is a surprise. I think you mentioned that typical Brown sweep that is so typical. We have seen it only once today.
Only once, and it was very successful.
So 2nd and 10 from the Cleveland 20. The 3rd interception by Ron Bolden, tying a Cleveland record. 3 interception, 1 game against a man who doesn't throw intercepts, Pat Hayden. There goes Pruitt, and he's going to pass downfield to Warfield. No good.
The interesting thing about Greg Pruitt on that particular play, that was a defensive pass because he was going to get hit. He didn't have anywhere to go. The receiver wasn't really open, but he threw it far enough so that he wouldn't lose the yardage. Very smart, heady play on the part of Greg Pruitt.
Good play indeed, because Monty Jackson was well in front of the intended receiver, Paul Warfield. Pruitt, by the way, is a threat to pass. In fact, he had passed 3 out of 6 and had 2 touchdown passes, so you really have to watch him.
Well, I think the Rams figured that out a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
They had that play really covered.
3rd and 10 from the 20. Mays, no good, intended for Oscar Rowan, and there's a flag on the play. Interference. Dave Elmendorf is saying why? How come? Well, maybe we can show you.
No doubt about it.
Here's the play, a pass to Oscar Rowan, number 81.
Pass interference, first down.
Well, it's hard to see, but he hit him before the ball was in the air, basically. I call that an unintelligent play on the part of somebody.
All right, a break for Cleveland, 1st and 10 on their own 28-yard line. Greg Pruitt cutting back after what looked like a sweep, and he gets across the 30. And they knocked his helmet off.
Yes, he did, but he got good yardage. He had the option of going wide or cutting back. If you notice on the cutback, he was taking all of those stutter steps. That is because the field is now beginning to freeze. You have to slow down. You have to be more careful. Your cuts are never going to be strong anymore. They're going to be deliberate. You're going to try to hold the ball and get the best yardage you can.
Which is particularly difficult when you are trailing, as the Browns are 9-0.
Yes,
with
it
only
is.
a minute left to go in the 3rd quarter. Rucker is right. Warfield is left. Cleo Miller out across the 35-yard line. Good carry by Cleo Miller.
The point you made, Vince, is a very good one, because you never want to trail in a ball game anyway. But if it's bad weather, it's very difficult to catch up and to make up.
And it must be extremely frustrating for the Browns. They have had a poor day offensively. Dave Mays doesn't need numbers to let him know that it's been a struggle.
That's right. And if you don't have your passing game when you're behind, you know, you just can't really run that ball down their throats, because you're going to eat up the clock.
And no one seems to rush the ball that well against the Rams. They are 2nd against the rush in the NFC. Cleo Miller wide open across midfield, and it was Pat Thomas who nailed him at midfield, and we are running out of the 3rd quarter.
All right, it looked like it could have been a trap play.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Los Angeles Rams 9, Cleveland Browns 0.
So that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, Los Angeles Rams 9, the Cleveland Browns 0. We now pause for a word from your local station.
A radical group of vigilantes gets a new